He is a visionary. He's always been a visionary. And he had a way of getting people engaged in that vision.
Ed Crutchfield had as much to do about the rise of Charlotte becoming an international city as much as anyone else that I've met during my over 30 years in Charlotte.
He was direct, no nonsense. You could get a straight answer from him. If he disagreed with you, he told you in plain English.
He was a do-it guy. You know, just go do it. Get off the porch and get it done and make a difference and make change happen.
I'm really a fan of Ed Crutchfield for the many fine things that he's done, not only for the larger community, but the minority community.
That he was willing to invest in not only the people and not only the customers, which were so important, but also in the infrastructure in the very core of the city.
I was blessed with a job that gave me an opportunity to do that.
We tried to hire Ed Crutchfield off the campus, and we made him an offer, and he declined and went to First Union and provided us with a huge amount of competition over the next 20 years.
He saw the match between a great company with a great city, and thank God he did.
I think we probably brought 10,000 people in just to work in Charlotte. But it wasn't just the 10,000 warm bodies, these were very quality people.
Ed recognized in order to recruit talent from across the United States that you needed a city that would attract talent.
In fact, when they come down, the biggest job I had, and I think Hugh McCall probably had the same thing, was to convince them there was something going on here.
Candidly, this was a boring town.
We both had this need to have Charlotte succeed, because he had the same recruiting needs that I did. And we just wanted it out of, pride.
It's a pretty easy town to recruit people to.
To me, there were always two dimensions to building the city. One of them was physical, real estate. You got to have a core downtown. I don't think there had been a new building built in Charlotte since the Depression. And the tallest one that I recall was about 12 stories in 1965. And that stayed that way till about 1975. And First Union built a 34-story building, and people thought it was, the Empire State Building.
One of the things we both did is we kept building towers.
Then NCNB built one, and then we built another one.
Our banks got bigger. We built towers.
It wasn't a formal race to the top, so to speak, height-wise.
Towers got bigger.
Well, you could see, I could see, anybody could see that we were going to have a lot of buildings. But if we didn't watch out, we were going to have a lot of asphalt. And so I took a little bit of right much flack at times about, what are you spending that money on nothing? There was going to soon be no place for you to go and sit down at lunch and see the birds and get out, just have the sun shine on you. So it was a very deliberate thing. You either do it now or you pass forever.
Ed had a huge vision for urban spaces, and I think part of that was because he cared so much about people.
Once we got the idea for the employees to have a park, we said, let's make this thing public.
He helped bring retail, and he helped bring lively entertainment. He supported me in my efforts for light rail, the convention center, the football stadium, everything.
Hugh McCall and I were made heads of our bank within 6 months of each other. So one day, our two bosses took us to lunch. Those two proceeded to tell us how we were going to support the city, and that we better support the city. And if we didn't, we were abusing our privileges of the jobs we were about to get.
Those two banks worked together on community projects, as opposed to saying, well, that's yours, you do that, or that's mine, we don't want you. It was a remarkable degree of civic cooperation.
If I got the United Way this year, I meaning our bank, Hugh, I want you to give me your top 15 people. Done.
When Ed Crutchfield led the drive to raise a lot of money for Johnson C. Smith University, I think it was like $50 million. We held the first fundraiser to help with that project and to help Ed pull it off, which he did. It was a huge amount of money at that time. Still is, I might add.
I would say education is one of the big monuments for Ed Crutchfield.
He was very much involved in education in a quiet way that nobody would even know.
His mother was a teacher, and as a consequence, I think he always esteemed education.
My mother lived in Albemarle at that time, and she called and said, you know, son, I'm proud of you for being made president of the bank. She said, but I'm going to tell you one thing. If you don't get in there and help Jay Robinson and help this education system, I don't want to hear more about president of the bank. And she meant it.
That impact that he had on individuals, that belief that he gave you that things were possible, I mean, we'd run through brick walls for Ed.
You either have an environment where people are high priority or not. And yeah, it does start at the top, but it doesn't stop there. It just seemed to me that it's so easy to make it a people place, why not? I mean, and such a, frankly, tragedy when you see companies that don't.
To see him interact and work with people was a joy.
You can't lose sight of the trail he blazed about caring for a community, about investing in a community. That doesn't happen in a normal place. That doesn't happen in most cities.
There's no doubt that without his leadership, Charlotte wouldn't be what it is today.
These great cities, it's not automatic that certainly not automatic that you become one. What really isn't automatic is that you stay one. But if people are just determined, you know, fiercely determined to make it happen, it'll happen. That's what it takes. So having watched that dream unfold, I just hope we stick with it, and I think we will.